Kababayan today. My name is G Tanji. Let's start off the show with immigration updates from Reeves and Associates.
This immigration update is brought to you by Reeves, Miller, Zhang, and Diza, a professional law corporation.
Back on Kababayan today, and we are talking about immigration updates. Joining us here in the studio is Attorney Gregory Boult. Hello, thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Attorney Boult, let's talk about the immigration updates. As we know, everybody is talking about, there's a new president next year, and people are wondering how will this affect their immigration status. So let's talk about that, because there's a lot of harsh anti-immigrant rhetoric because of the U.S. presidential race.
Yes, it's something that's very atypical in this election cycle. Normally, there's an enormous amount of debate about whether there should be some sort of amnesty. That's really been what politicians have been debating for a decade or more. But what we're seeing now is a real sea change in terms of what the debate is. And we're seeing rhetoric that is actually very extreme. We're hearing rhetoric these days about deporting 11 million people, about banning Muslims from coming to the United States.
How do you do that, Donald Trump? Anyway, go ahead.
It's remarkable, and it's something that has to instill fear in people here that are in the United States that are hoping for some sort of amnesty or hoping for some sort of resolution to their immigration status in the United States. And it's something that needs to be kept in mind because, yes, as you mentioned, in less than a year, we're going to have a new president.
That's right, a new president in less than a year. What does that mean for, could there be drastic changes?
There could be drastic changes, and that's a real concern. And when you look at what's available right now for individuals who do not have status here in the United States, unfortunately, there are a lot of programs that are available and options that are available to people that people may not realize are available at all.
Okay.
And this is a unique period of time. We're looking at a situation where it could become much worse, where this is an opportunity for people to take the chance and look to see if, in fact, there is anything that may be available to them in terms of an option for their immigration status in the United States.
And obviously, the best way to do this is to consult with a lawyer who really knows what's going on. So it's important that they get the proper information out there.
That's true. A lot of people are given poor and erroneous advice, and that can affect their ability to attain legal status in the United States. A lot of people, for instance, also believe that they've done something in the past which may make them ineligible for an immigration benefit in the United States.
Okay, so let's discuss those, Attorney. If you've had a past criminal conviction, right? Or you've done fraud against the U.S. government when you check a box that says you are a U.S. citizen when you're really not. Is there hope? Is there a chance for these people to actually get their documents, especially our Kababayans, our Filipinos who have no documents, to legally be here in America?
A lot of times there is. And when you look at somebody, for instance, who has committed fraud before, it's possible they may be eligible for a waiver. Somebody who, for instance, has been convicted of a crime before, there are always post-conviction opportunities where somebody may be able to have a sentence modified or have a conviction set aside. And in those instances, suddenly they could be eligible for a benefit. So, another important thing, there are a lot of people here in the United States that have outstanding deportation orders. When Donald Trump talks about the 11 million people here in the United States, he also focuses on the people that have already been deported from the United States but who've never left. A lot of those people could actually go back in before an immigration judge and seek to have their case reopened again, in effect to have that deportation order taken back.
Okay.
But ultimately, you're never going to know unless you speak to somebody who's experienced and qualified and can tell you. But just to assume that, well, this is going to be a problem, I'm never going to be able to get a green card, it's not always correct.
Okay, so let's talk about the immigration benefits, which may be available to Kababayans and their families that they may not have known about. What is a cancellation of removal? What does this mean?
Cancellation of removal is a unique opportunity for people who have good moral character and have been residing in the United States for 10 years or more and have a qualifying relative to apply to have, in effect, the removal from the United States canceled to be allowed to remain in the United States and to obtain a green card. Many people aren't aware that this avenue is available. Now, not everyone's eligible, but a good portion of people may be. But once again, you're never going to know unless you ask.
Okay, so we also have heard about this U visa. Can you explain to us more about what a U visa is and who would qualify for that?
The U visa program is something that's really taken off in the last few years, and that program's available to victims of crime here in the United States who help law enforcement prosecute the perpetrators. And that's something that ultimately can lead to a green card and can assist family members as well. So it's certainly tragic when anyone's the victim of a serious crime, and not all crimes qualify, but this is a route that more and more people are taking in order to legalize their status and the status of their family here in the United States.
Okay. Could you give me an example, just some sort of example of what would qualify in you assisting in some sort of crime?
What would happen, for instance, what you would normally see is somebody who's a victim of an aggravated assault. Somebody's on the street, maybe that they were assaulted as part of a robbery or an attempted robbery, and they contact the police and they assist the police in prosecuting that individual if that individual can be found and arrested.
Even if they don't have papers or documents to be here?
Correct. And as a result of assisting law enforcement in that prosecution, they could be able to apply for a temporary U status in the United States that ultimately leads to a green card.
Okay, this is very, very good to know. Okay, let's talk about DACA, because this is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, right? We were talking about this because I know that there was a Supreme Court hearing about Obama and DACA and the extended DACA. Where does immigration stand on this right now?
DACA is still in effect, but once again, you're seeing presidential candidates saying that they're going to stop the program. It's been a good program, but ultimately, the number of people that would actually be eligible to apply for this is dramatically higher than what we've actually seen in terms of actual applicants. And it's because many people are scared. I'm giving my information to the federal government. If the program ever ends, they're going to have a list of people. They know where I am, they know where I go to school, they know where I work.
It's a scary thought to think of putting yourself on the line, but like our attorney says today from Reeves and Associates, kung hindi nyo alam, you need to get information.
That's correct, and ultimately the program is so large in scope as it is now, even with the hundreds of thousands of people that have applied and have been granted the deferred action status. It's very difficult to foresee that the federal government, even under a new administration, would be able to step in and take the program away. It's consistent with many previous programs where benefits are given out. It's very hard to take them away. And because of that, we're still encouraging people to look into the program to see if they're eligible.
Yes.
Because I think you're going to be in a much better position if you do have it than if you don't, and there's a new president that's not as favorable.
And then let's talk lastly about Violence Against Women Act, the VAWA.
The VAWA Act. It's a very, very unique and special law which allows individuals that are victims of domestic violence at the hands of a United States citizen or green card holder to seek a green card in the United States. And it's very unique in the sense that it's not just spouses, it can be parents as well. It could also be children. So when you're looking at it, it's something that's beneficial. A lot of people, for instance, if you're a woman in your relationship with a man and there's violence involved, a lot of women are terrified that something could happen if they're out of status. Maybe he's going to have me deported.
Does the person who sort of does the violence against you, do they have to be an American citizen in order for you to qualify?
They have to be an American citizen or a green card holder.
Got
a
it.
lawful permanent resident.
Okay.
But the unique part about it is you're able to seek this benefit, and that party, the perpetrator in effect, is not involved in any way of the case.
Got it.
You have absolute privacy. It's something that's done through immigration where there's no involvement with that individual whatsoever. It's a very unique program, and unfortunately it's something that's also undersubscribed. A lot of people, I think, could be eligible for it that aren't even aware of it. And once again, unless you talk to somebody who's experienced and knowledgeable, you're not going to know.
All right. Thank you so much, Attorney, for all your advice to our kababayans out there. Remember, if you need the proper advice, make sure to call Reeves and Associates. Maraming salamat po. Magbabalik po kami.
This immigration update is brought to you by Reeves, Miller, Zhang, and Diza, a professional law corporation.